Sauls with the Stacey Sauls Group at Keller Williams, and we are introducing a segment called High Heel Heroes to you.
And I didn't wear my heels.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, your business, you don't need heels. We're good today. So today we are talking to an influential businesswoman in Fort Mill and Steel Creek, Kelli Narveson. She's co-owner with her husband of OrangeTheory, and they have 2 locations. Kelli, tell us what you do.
Hi, my husband and I are the owners. Initially, when we opened our first studio in the university area, I think 4.5 years ago now, I was, in the studios every day, and this is before I had my first child, and then over the years we've opened 2 more studios. We had sold the first studio, we had another baby. We have a 5-year-old and a 19-month-old. I have, over the years, started to transition to behind the scenes. So my husband's in both of the studios every day, actually running them alongside of our managers and our amazing team. And I do more of the behind the scenes stuff, marketing and advertising, just kind of trying to figure out more ways that we can, care for our members and continue to make our studios people's happy place, especially during these times, because we all need an escape.
Okay, Kelli, I'm sure everyone wants to know, how did you get started?
This is actually a fun question that I'm asked pretty often, and it's fun because both my husband and I started off as members ourselves in Atlanta at a studio there when they had first started coming into the market. I think there's like 35 locations there now. There's 1,800 worldwide, and I think 13 in our region alone. But at the time in Atlanta, it was one of the first opening locations. I had done everything under the sun as far as fitness, and but I'd also had some injuries as a runner, and I needed low impact because of my injuries, and I wanted to be able to continue to do what I love to do for as long as I possibly can. And so a friend had told me about OrangeTheory, and I'm like, what's Orange Therapy? Which it actually has become now over the last few years. But long story short, came in, took a class, loved it, signed up the first day unlimited. My husband did the same. At the time, he was a professional baseball player, and so he started taking classes with me during off season, and he had been playing for a long time, and he knew that he was closer to the end of his career than he was the beginning, and so he decided to hop on some calls to learn about the business model. At that time, shortly thereafter, he had signed to play with the Miami Marlins, and their spring training was in South Florida, which happened to be where corporate was at the time. They were in Fort Lauderdale. They've since outgrown that space and moved to Boca. But we made the drive, sat at the table, learned about which territories were available, and we were in transition because we were newlyweds, which is not really recommended to open a business, buy a house, get pregnant, all of those things shortly after, literally within 12 months of marriage. But we are learning and we're growing. But we made the decision at that point to relocate to Charlotte and share our passion and what we've experienced as far as transformation internally and physically, mentally, all of the above. We wanted to share that with others.
I love that. So I want to know what the dinner conversation was like each night as you're prepping to go into this. Were you scared? Were you worried? Did it feel risky, or were you just excited?
Oh my gosh, I think, all of the above. Like, we had made the commitment, so, and I'm a perfectionist, so, we were all in, and I was gonna just make sure that I did everything I could on the back end to help set us up for success. My husband ended up signing to play an additional year, and I was about to give birth to our son, so I didn't think that first year of being open, I was gonna be in Charlotte on my own, and he was gonna be gone literally from February until I think September, but I managed. And for those of you out there who have just hard stuff going on, I promise you it makes you stronger. All of this, COVID, just whatever you have going on personally, it absolutely makes you stronger.
Kelli, if you were to give people advice on starting their own business, what would you tell them?
Oh man, don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm completely kidding, I promise. I think the first thing that I would ask you is to ask yourself what your why is. What is the reason behind your desire to open whatever business that you're wanting to open? And just make sure that decision is rooted and a passion and a belief system strong enough to kind of carry you through the good times, the bad times, the in-between times, because there's going to be all of that. Always all of that. It's never going to be perfect. But just making sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. The people that I've personally met and have found to be most successful, who are entrepreneurs, are those who are truly believe with every ounce of their being in what they're doing, and aren't just doing it for a revenue stream, which that is a piece of it, right? Especially if that's your only livelihood and the only money that's coming in and providing for your family. But I just, what's that saying? You never work a day in your life. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, and I truly believe that.
I love that. Tell us your advice on hiring.
This is probably one of my, I can't say one of my number ones because that doesn't make sense, but my number one thing, and this is something I've learned and am continuing to learn, the importance of building a strong team, because they are your foundation. They are the people, the most constant in your studios. As entrepreneurs, there's going to be a lot of things behind the scenes as far as the owners. Most owners aren't in the studios every single day, so you have to build a strong team, which means you should go through the hiring process very slowly, and then also slow to fire, just because I have a belief system that if somebody isn't doing something right, then there's an analogy or a saying that says the fish stinks from the head down. I feel like ultimately there's a responsibility and a question you have to ask yourself as an owner and then as a manager for all the people underneath, is have I done enough? Have I given them the tools? Have I set them up to be successful? Am I available when they need me? But building your team is your everything, and our first studio, we went through a lot in that first studio, and I was in there every day, but I became very overwhelmed because I was doing every of these jobs for them, and that's not how people learn. But thankfully, we at both studios in Fort Mill and Steel Creek, with every ounce of my being, I believe that we have the strongest teams, and that results in an amazing experience for your members, because we all share the same belief system, and our mission, vision, values are all in line, and I think that's really important that you as an entrepreneur have that, and then you expect that in the people that you're bringing in to be a part of your team, that the mission, vision, and values are all in line, and everything else will fall into place.
Got it. So you're saying your business foundation is essentially the culture.
Oh, 1,000%. It is everything. Member experience and just, I call it OrangeTheory, and our teams know that I want the studios to be people's happy place. And that was even pre-COVID. It was my happy place. It continues to be my happy place. I am a diehard 5 a.m. at the Quail Hollow location. I want to come here, but we live in South Park and have a baby at home and a toddler and all this stuff, so it just makes sense for me to do that. But culture is absolutely everything. And I also am a big believer in leading by example. And I just think that's a game changer too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of self-check that comes into play when you're actually at the top. Another thing though, as far as, building your team and stuff, I don't feel like my goal is to not make anybody, my managers or head coaches or any staff, like I don't want to ever make them feel like they're below me, because we're all, when you're a team, you're side by side, walking hand in hand.
I love that.
So for me, it's not a title is just a title, but how you treat people should be the same all the way around. And when you're walking hand in hand, you can be successful, and it's for the betterment of them and your members as well.
Yeah, you walk the walk, because when we got here to film with Kelli today, she was surrounded by members outside the studio, and they were talking and laughing, and I just thought that was great, and you could feel the culture right as we walked up to you guys.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, transitioning to behind the scenes a few years ago, it's been really tough ongoing because of the fact that our first studio, before we had our first child, I was, in the pre-sales office every single day, selling memberships, learning people's stories and their journeys, and because I'm literally getting goosebumps, y'all. It is literally the it's just my heart for learning about people, because I know the way that OrangeTheory has helped and continues to help change my life, and just really it's physical but very much mental in this crazy season. It's like the only hour that I get to myself to escape everything, including my family. I love them, but you know, I just think that we can be better for people when we take care of ourselves. But yeah, it is absolutely everything.
Talk to us about marketing.
Okay, so marketing is important, especially if you're going to be opening a new business. You can't assume that people know what you're going to do, where you're going to be, who you are. My career pre-OrangeTheory was marketing and advertising. I sold television airtime between Atlanta and Orlando for close to 8 years, and so I do have a little bit more knowledge on that. And when I say I do stuff for the studios behind the scenes for marketing, I'm our region's advertising co-op president. So I'm really ultimately the big decision influencer and decision maker when it comes to marketing, and I work closely with our ad agency to make those decisions. And I spend a lot of time on research, market research, which I strongly recommend as part of your prep phase. Like, you got to know your audience. You got to know where your customers, you know, the radius that your customers are going to be coming from. You don't want to spend money outside of there if most of the people who are going to frequent your type of business are more likely to be within a 5-mile radius. But you also can't just not do anything, turn your open sign on and expect people to flood in. So you got to know your area, you have to know your audience and who to target to, and the means to be able to do that. And that should, if you're doing it the right way, and often enough, and you know, early into the you know, opening your business process enough, to be able to get the message out there and to encourage people to spread the word and ask your people, all the people that you know, to share that, and by word, by social media, and all of that, so that they can help support you. I'm a big local business supporter, especially with COVID.
Yeah, your members are fantastic. I see them yell the name all over social media.
We call them orange Kool-Aid drinkers.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
They are diehard, and they are
It's a necessity
best
for successful business. So I love how you've grown that, where even before you opened, we had a women in networking group, and you knew, hey, these are my people, they're going to bring people, and you were there saying, this is what I'm doing, and we're opening our doors, so come join us. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Really impactful.
But I mean, you can market, but if you don't take care of the people that you have when you have them,
Absolutely.
then you essentially market to bring in new people, but your old people are leaving. Like, you're literally chasing your tail. So I believe strongly in the sale after the sale, essentially, even though I don't like calling it a sale. You've got to spend money to get new people in the door, and you have to take care of the people that you have so that they refer people, which isn't an additional marketing expense to you. And then, you know, and then that's how you grow.
Yeah, tell me about COVID. What happened? You got shut down, right?
Yeah. So I remember crying. I was in Orlando. We took my son to Disney, and literally 3 days before it shut down. So like, and my husband's phone was blowing up from our managers because people were starting to come in to freeze their memberships. And I remember crying, one, because I didn't get to experience Disney for the first time with my son the way that I wanted to, and that really like hurt my mama heart. But also, I cried when I heard that we could potentially be shut down for 2 weeks, and now I'm like, oh my goodness!
2
Like,
weeks.
yeah, no, 2 weeks turned into from March to May for South Carolina, and for our North Carolina studio, that continues to be an even bigger challenge. I'm thankful to have a location in South Carolina, and we're just now starting to increase capacity while keeping a lot of the safety measurements in place. We've gone above and beyond, and safety continues and will always be of the utmost importance for our staff and for our members. But that studio, the North Carolina studio, was supposed to reopen in May, because we were included in phase 2, and then last minute, without warning, we had already brought staff back on to start training and everything. We were pushed out and pushed back an additional 4 months, so we were closed without revenue. All memberships during the entire time that our studios were closed were frozen. So nobody paid anything, but we did offer. We kept staff on to be able to help encourage people through live streaming workouts, because it's hard. I mean, it's not easy. There's a reason why people need to get out of their house and go to the gym. Community looks very differently. It's not the same, just like online church isn't the same as actually being in and worshiping. And so community, accountability, motivation, all of those things are really hard without having the ability to be in person. So I don't want to go on a tangent on that because I'm thankful. I'm thankful because we learned a lot. We're continuing to learn. Every challenge that we've been hit head on with, we've overcome. But it's also because, one, my husband has worked relentlessly on this, of keeping us afloat, but also our team. They are resilient. I can't say that I've been as great as they are. They've honestly helped hold us up when I feel like we were kind of taken out at the knees. So I'm trying to just be thankful because we have so much to be thankful for.
But tell us about self-care and balancing home life, work life, all of that.
So I'm an overachiever, if y'all can't tell. I know that you know me well enough to know that I just don't stop. I hit the ground running, and I don't, it's really hard to kind of cut it off. But I do think as a business owner from the beginning, set boundaries. I mean, you're going to have to put in the time. You're going to have to work. You're the owner of the business. You're always going to have to work. Especially if you have a business that's open 7 days a week. Literally, we have like 85 classes on the schedule. So like we are open all the time. So you have to be available all the time. But I do think it's important to just set some guardrails and boundaries for yourself, especially if you have kids at home. They deserve for you to set that for them. They deserve your time. Your mental health deserves your time. I just think you have to treat it as a marathon and not a sprint, because it is a marathon and it's not a sprint. And so it's important to just slow down, take it all in, make time for yourself, whatever that is, like sitting out on a bench and looking out at the water, just breathing, practice breathing, taking an OrangeTheory class, whatever you need to do that will help you be able to reset so that you have the energy to continue the next day, because it's a long haul, and that's a gift, but you're going to burn out if you don't set that for yourself.
Absolutely. And you know what I love about you is you're so involved in the community. So tell us, what are you working on now? Where's your heart right now?
Y'all, my heart's like exploding because it's so big for the person that I'm going to mention and the cause that she just has been relentlessly supporting since her daughter Ren was diagnosed with leukemia. She has been in remission. I think December will be 3 years. I'm sorry, Brandy, if it's, I think 3 years, if I get that right. I remember the day that she rang her bell. But anyways, Brandy is up for a very, very, very like amazing award for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Woman of the Year. She's a nominee, and she deserves that nomination more than anybody on the planet. She has 4 kids, and just I honestly don't. Every time I talk to her, I take notes because I learned something. Like, how do you even have this energy? Can you tell me what you ate this morning? Like, what did you do? Like, how can you like pour yourself into raising like this? She's got big goals, y'all, and she knows that every dollar towards this cause, an awareness of childhood cancer it matters and it makes a difference. But we will be, I think it's from May 29th to June 3rd at 4 p.m. We will be the match sponsor in support of her Women of the Year nomination. And what that means is that we will be promoting, but we need y'all's help. We can't do it just within the walls of our 2 studios to share and spread the word. But my husband and I will be matching up to $10,000 raised between those 5.5 days. Again, Saturday, which next Saturday, I think May 29th, through Thursday, I think that's June 3rd at 4 p.m. 5.5 days, we need to raise at least $10,000 for her. That will go toward, and it's actually, that will be the end of the fundraising altogether. It's been a 10-week initiative. So we are going to be we're the caboose of this, which I feel like for me, I'm somebody who puts pressure on myself. Like, I always have big expectations, but if we are going to be the last push of this, and I really want her to get that award, which again, she's so deserving, then we need it to be a community effort. Please, if you could, when you see it on people's social media pages, Click the link, donate. We're going to be putting together a big raffle basket that's going to have a pretty substantial value to it for people to be able to be entered into for every $100 minimum donation. So
Awesome.
keep a lookout for more info.
Great. Yeah, and we'll actually post the link below this video for everybody that wants to donate so that we can knock it out of the ballpark.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you, Kelly, so much for talking to us today. I think that you're going to help future entrepreneurs and even current ones really, really get a lot of good gold out of this.
And I thank you. I'm honored that you wanted to
You
put
are
me on camera when I'm not a camera
first
person.
one. I'm not either. This is our first high-heeled heroes. We'll remember this video forever. And maybe we'll redo one next year too, and then we'll look back at this and say, gosh, you're so great on camera now.
Yeah, and I'll have taken like a lot of speech classes and public speaking classes so that I can shorten it. It's my passion, y'all. I talk a lot because I'm so passionate about what we do. And I'll also have Stacey just, if anybody wants to pick my brain, I don't know why you would. But if I'm happy to help, I am a just open book, as just transparent as they come. I will tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, help in whatever way I can, answer any questions that I can, support you in whatever way that I can. It's an amazing gift to be able to open a business, but I do think as far as, the Woman of the Year initiative, something that's been a priority of mine since day one is to continue to find ways, although you'll probably be approached, but if you're not, continue to find ways to use your business to give back, because it truly is, it's a gift to be able to have the opportunity to open a business, but an even greater gift to be able to not only help people through your business, but to help people who really need your help and who are going through really difficult things.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only are you our first video, you have been top of the list. We said we want Kelly first. I learned so much just by being in your orbit, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're really grateful for you.